Hey YouTube, Bob here. Welcome to the next edition of my first-party Nintendo Players Guides playlist. And in this one, we're going to take a look at the guides for the Nintendo 64. Remember to check out the description for a link to a survey so you can vote on the guides you want me to take a more detailed look at in the follow-up to this video. In the previous videos, we've been taking a look at guides for the Nintendo Entertainment System and the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, and even the Game Boy. With those, we noticed some consistencies in the graphic design. Here, we're going to see, with these N64 guides, a little bit of variances or inconsistencies with the graphic design, as well as the dimension of the guides. The first two up here, Banjo Kazooie and Banjo Tooie. Obviously, Banjo Kazooie was an older game that came first, and you can see that the dimensions for the guides of the older games are a little bit smaller. As far as the height goes, you can see about almost an inch taller, or almost an inch difference between the newer guide and the older guide. And then as far as the width is concerned, we got about a half-inch difference there. So just kind of an interesting variation there between the older and the newer guides. But we're going to take a look at these alphabetically. I do believe I have all of the first-party Nintendo published players guides for the N64, except for Pokemon, because that is a franchise that I never got into. So we're going to take a look at these, just the front and back cover, and then I've hand-picked one that I want to go through with you guys in a little bit more detail. So let's start off with Banjo Kazooie here. Take a look at the back. Don't just grin and bear it. Got a nice full back cover picture of Gruntilda there. Very nice colorful back cover to Banjo Kazooie. Now Banjo Tooie, this is one of the newer guides here. Some of the newer guides even have a little bit of a glossy finish to it, or a foil cover. We don't really see that here, but when we do, we'll start to see it in the blue portions, I believe. But this is the guide for Banjo Tooie, another rare produced game. And we go into the back, claw to the top. So again, we got some graphics. A lot of times with the N64, they use the original CGI models instead of the actual in-game graphics, because, you know, at the time of the N64 and the PlayStation in the mid to late 90s, that's usually considered nowadays to be like a transitional period with graphics, and a lot of them don't hold up too well these days. So they usually opted towards the original CGI models for any sort of publications like this. This is the guide for Banjo Tooie. Moving on to another Rare game. We're going to see lots of games published by Rare here. This is Conker's Bad Fur Day. This is one of the newer games here. It's in the bigger shape of the guide, and it says this guide is not for anyone under 17. And that's why it is actually still wrapped in its plastic. They didn't want any kids thumbing through this guide, even though they do actually have you know, an alcohol reference right on the front cover here. So I've never taken this out. I played through Conker's Bad Fur Day a long time ago, but it was using internet references for my guide there. It says, save your own tail. If you find yourself in a world of poo and need a helping hand, don't expect anyone to plunge in after you. That's why we published our guide. It's filled to the rim with heaping piles of strategy, a steady stream of valuable advice, and plenty of absorbing maps. The crack team at Nintendo Power has squeezed all of its gaming knowledge into one volume. It's flush with information. So even though they're trying to censor it by putting it in a bag and putting the warning on the front, they're loading the description on the back there with toilet language, so to speak. So that's pretty typical Conker fashion. But that's the guide for Conker's Bad Fur Day. Diddy Kong Racing. Alright, this game came out in 1997, I believe, and here is that original motif that I believe they were going to stick with, but then they didn't. And you can see this guide is a little bit smaller in shape. We've got Donkey Kong 64 behind it, which is a newer guide. We can see the difference in size there. But what Nintendo was trying to do was use the four colors, because you know the N64 had the three primary colors plus green there, and they were going to use that little rectangle motif again. But we'll see that in some of the guides, but certainly not all of them, as we have already seen. So you got Diddy Kong Racing here, official Nintendo Player's Guide. Leave them all behind. There's no time to lose. Over 50 3D maps detailing the location of every item. So that is Diddy Kong Racing. Followed by Donkey Kong 64, nowadays known as a collection quest nightmare. So this guide details where to find all of those MacGuffins that you're going after in Donkey Kong 64. The Prime Primate is back. Detailed directions to help you find all of the 201 golden bananas. Yep, lots of things to find in this game. So before the internet, which this game was released, just on the cusp of the internet becoming popular or, accessible to many, many people, you would need this guide in order to help you with Donkey Kong 64. Here is Goldeneye up next, another 1997 game. So we're seeing that early motif with the 4 different colors there. Smaller guide here that says everything but the martinis, detailed maps of every mission, the best classified cheats exposed. A very simplistic back cover for Goldeneye. Next up is Force Gemini, a newer game on the console, so we've got one of the larger size guides here. Official bug busting guide from Nintendo Power. Let's take a look at the back. The infestation is underway. Detailed maps of each of the 15 areas of the game, comprehensive walkthroughs. So here, unlike some of the other guides, we've got some screenshots of what you would be doing in Force Gemini. Next up, this is the one that I was talking about that had some foil effects to the cover. It's got like a foil overlay. Makes it very shiny. But this is the guide for Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. It's one of the newer games. I believe this game came out in 2000 or 2001. I'm not entirely sure on the year. Does it say it easily on the back? No. Now I'm curious. Definitely got to check myself here. Okay, no, the guide has a publication year of 2000. So definitely a newer game, bigger guide, and it's got the foil cover treatment that actually looks really nice there. So got the mask, and then a blessing in disguise. No gossip stone left unturned. Detailed maps for all dungeons and worlds. Complete mask info. Step-by-step strategies for exploring the temples. Round-the-clock schedules, and secrets galore. Quite a substantial guide for Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. And up next is the guide for the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Now this game was released in 1998, so it could be considered one of the older games. So we've got the smaller form factor of the guide. They did go with the rectangle here, of course, but none of the 4 colors. And I think that was a wise choice, given that it looks like they were trying to go with the look of a leather-bound journal. And I remember reading somewhere along the lines that Shigeru Miyamoto wanted to make this guide a guide, of course, but that didn't divulge every single secret. He didn't want to totally remove the exploration aspect from this game. And as I'm looking right now, it says forward by Zelda creator Shigeru Miyamoto. So I'm thinking in that forward he may explain his philosophy behind the way this guide is designed. So if you're interested in hearing more about that, maybe you want to vote for this guide as one of the ones that I take a more detailed look at in the follow-up video. But as we turn it over here, Live the Legend. Detailed maps, battle strategies, secret info, and trading tips. Also says exclusive, includes a transcription of the Zelda theme song to play on the Ocarina, and then also complete maps. So that is Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Paper Mario. This one's a little bit of a newer game, so we got the bigger guide here. On the back, smash your way to success. Will Bowser never learn? Complete and detailed maps of every village, path, and enemy hideout in Mario's latest epic adventure. Powerful battle strategies, descriptions and locations for all the 160 hidden star pieces. So this is Paper Mario. Next one, Perfect Dark. Kind of a spiritual successor to Goldeneye. This guide is actually substantial, very thick, very heavy guide. This is a later game in the N64 catalog, so it's got the very big form factor here. And it also includes a Perfect Dark comic, which is actually kind of a neat touch for a player's guide to have. So we turn it over here. In the dark, seeking perfection, meet Joanna. Perfectly detailed maps, complete weapons list, hidden item locations, straightforward strategies, all the cheats, darkly entertaining 32-page comic. So that definitely explains some of the heft of this guide, that 32 pages are dedicated to the comic. And I see here on the last page you've got 192 pages total. So about 160 pages of guide and then 32 of the comic there. Up next, Star Fox. This is an older game in 1997, so we got the smaller form factor and the motif here. You can see the 4-color box. So, got Hotter Than a Hyper Laser, Star Fox 64 Player's Guide. And again, we got some screenshots of in-game play, but for the most part they're using the CGI models, because although this is a great game, you know, it's pretty much early N64 graphics. But still looking nice here on the back cover. And speaking of early N64 graphics, it doesn't get much earlier than Super Mario 64, which was one of only 2 launch titles back in 1996 when the system was released, the other being Pilot Wing 64. But here we have the guide for Super Mario 64, obviously the very first guide for the system, and here very clearly on the front is that 4-colored square motif. We turn it over to the back, again lots of those CGI models instead of in-game graphics. Do you need a guide to the stars? There are 120 stars in Super Mario 64 and it's up to you to find every one. So this guide will help you do that. And then finally here, Yoshi's Story, Official Player's Guide. Now to my remembrance, Yoshi's Story is kind of a newer game on the console, yet this guide is sporting the smaller form factor and actually the 4-color square motif, so that's kind of interesting there. But interesting that they rephrase here, the official guide as told by the pros. It's told because it's a story, Yoshi's Story. So if we turn it over here and get the whole story, danger, plot your adventure with complete maps. Drama, watch your score soar. Mystery, discover the whereabouts of secret areas and hidden characters. Romance, capture every special heart. So, that's the guide for Yoshi's Story. So like I said, aside from the guide that I'm going to be taking a more detailed look at in just a moment here, this is pretty much every guide published by Nintendo for the N64, barring, of course, the Pokemon games that were released on the console, because just don't do Pokemon. It was a little bit older when that started to get popular, and that's just not a slippery slope that I want to go down as far as collecting goes. So no Pokemon in my collection. But what I do have in my collection, of course, are the Mario games and all the franchises, including Mario Kart. And that's the guide that I wanted to take a more detailed look at in this video with you guys. And the reason why I chose it is because it's a little bit unique in that it includes bonus bumper stickers. So I wanted to take a look at those with you guys as we take a look at our guide. So Mario Kart 64 came out in about 1997, I believe, at the beginning of the year. So this is a smaller guide, and it's got the 4-color square motif here. So if we take a look at the back cover, get on the fast track with Mario Kart 64. With 20 courses, which seems laughable nowadays, but that was pretty big at the time. 20 courses, 4 modes of play, and 8 drivers, Mario Kart 64 packs in the challenge. It's not enough just to stay on the road and put your foot to the floor. If you want to take the checkered flag, you need an edge. Winning racers turn to the only source that has all the strategies, all the shortcuts, and all the course maps showing every detail, the Mario Kart 64 Player's Guide from Nintendo. So here it says we're going to have complete 3D maps of every racetrack, top secret driving techniques, turbocharged classified charts, best shortcuts for the fastest times, and pro strategies for Mario GP, Versus, and Battle modes. So let's take a look and see what awaits us in the Mario Kart 64 Player's Guide. So still a lot of the CGI graphics, which is understandable given the era of games. Take the checkered flag with Nintendo power. You're on the final lap. Peach is ahead on the inside lane while Mario and Bowser are duking it out for second. You're just 3 kart lengths behind the leaders, but Yoshi is gaining on you fast. Luckily for you, you have the Nintendo Power Pit Crew to lube your brain and rotate your thumbs with insider tips and tactics from the racing pros at Nintendo. All the course maps are here, complete with detailed strategies for the Mario GP, versus, time trials, and battle modes. Make a pit stop with the official Mario Kart 64 Player's Guide and tune your game play engine. So, a little bit of a cheesy write-up for the kids there. I always imagine what it would be like to, that's my job, being a writer for one of these Player's Guides, you know, having to kind of tune my writing to kid sensibilities there. But got some cheesiness in there, which I definitely enjoy. Here we've got the contents. Going to go into some of the race modes and drivers and the techniques. Take a look at the courses in depth. It says we're going to see some 3D maps, and it's also going to delve into the battle mode for us. People really loved battle mode in Mario Kart 64. I didn't get into it as much as Super Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo. And that's probably an unpopular opinion, but Super Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo I think is my favorite Mario Kart game. Wouldn't say it's the best. There's a difference between best and favorite, because best means you're looking at objective you know, aspects of the game, but favorite, my definite favorite is Super Mario Kart. A lot of nostalgia there for me. So here we've got the course overviews, got some nice mock-ups of each of the 4 courses in each of the 4 cups there. And then we've got battle mode here on the right-hand side. Pretty cool. So it looks like we're going to go through all the different race modes. Got GP, versus, time trials, and battle mode. Then going through all the drivers, which this list is pretty quaint these days. We've got Peach, Toad, Yoshi, Mario, Luigi, Wario, Donkey Kong, and Bowser. That is it. And they go through and then tell us a little bit about how these characters handle as far as their off-road speed, their cornering speed, and their maximum speed. And then perhaps how that's affected in the different CC classes as well. Different driving techniques. The power slide, that was actually introduced in Super Mario Kart prior to this, but with the N64 you could actually rock the stick back and forth. That was one of the first times that came. Rocket boost, reverse, spin turn, quick recover, all the different shells. No blue shell yet. Well, actually, yes, there is a blue shell in this game. This was the first one, but it was so super rare. It was like the lightning bolt in Super Mario Kart. Hardly ever came up. So yeah, there was a blue shell. It's just not nearly as ubiquitous as in the newer games. Going into the mushrooms, bananas, superstars, lightning bolts, and boos. This is one of the first games where you could get multiples of items, like you know, a reusable mushroom or 3 shells at a time that they would surround your cart and spin. That was always pretty cool. So now it looks like we're going to be going into the cups and courses. Drivers, start your engines. You've taken a few practice laps and your cart is purring like a kitten. Now it's time to get out there and do it for real. The following pages contain detailed maps for every race course, as well as exclusive Mario GP and Versus mode strategies and time trial tactics. We've even included sample novice, intermediate, and advanced time trials records that you can use to gauge your own record-breaking speedruns. Whether you're a novice racer or a veteran road hog, this guide will help catapult you into the winner's circle. So that's kind of interesting. This was well before the time of, not the internet. The internet was actually fairly prevalent at this point, 1997, 1998. However, certainly nothing like streaming video in the forms of YouTube or Twitch. So the idea of a speed run, well, that didn't really exist, or a recorded speed run anyway, that would be available online. But apparently this is the guide you needed if you wanted to gauge your times. So Luigi Raceway, we're starting with Mushroom Cup here. Then going through it, looks like it gives you the map. Got the nice overhead shot there, showing you how to make the tightest turns here, which is definitely going to be important for getting those short times. And we got Moomoo Farms. Again, it looks like that is the same treatment we're going to get as the overview. So that's kind of a nice layout that they have here. Give you the little illustration where all of the items are, and then the big overhead map of the track. Calamari Desert. This one is always very unique because it had that train, the locomotive that had 64 emblazoned right on the front of the engine there. And yeah, if you timed it right, or wrong as it were, you would have to actually stop, like come to a full-on stop and wait for the train to go over the tracks at that point in the racetrack. However, everybody else on the course had to as well. So it was all about timing with that one. It's actually kind of unique. I'm surprised they didn't bring anything like that back. Got Toad's Turnpike here. This one I always really enjoyed the music. Very calming music on Toad's Turnpike. A little bit of a bland stage. I mean, if we look at the screenshots here, there's not a whole lot going on, but that could be said for a lot of the courses in Mario Kart 64. Given the speed and everything that was going on, they probably needed to keep the courses relatively free of detail, unfortunately. And that'll become ever more apparent when we get to the Choco Island in this one? I think they call it something different. Choco Island is Super Mario Kart. But yeah, here, okay, Choco Mountain. This one, ugh, this one is just so boring. Just all brown and lots of that fog effect. It's probably due to hardware limitations. And something else that's kind of curious as well, is along the lines of hardware limitations, is the racers on the tracks. They are actually they're sprites. They aren't 3D polygons. So I think that's obviously due to hardware limitations. So we got Mario Raceway. We're already in Flower Cup. Yeah, we're just getting the same treatment for every racetrack here, which is good. So now we're into Star Cup, Wario Stadium. This is another one that's very boring looking, and oh my god, it takes forever to get through. If you look at this course, just all those winding, overlapping twists and turns, this course takes forever to get through. It's really a slog. I never really got into Wario Stadium in Mario Kart 64. And actually, I think I mentioned in my Nintendo history, or my, gosh, what did I call it? I don't even remember what I called my own video anymore. Yeah, it's like the My Nintendo History playlist or something like that. You guys remind me. Some of you guys know my videos better than I do. But I was going through and telling about how I, got out of video games for a while. And Mario Kart 64 was actually one of the games that helped me do that. Because as I was just kind of alluding to right now is I appreciated Super Mario Kart more than Mario Kart 64. So I'm thinking, you know what, I already got this Super Nintendo that I love. The N64 games are alright, and I didn't know it at the time because I was still developing my game taste, but I prefer 2D games to 3D games, and 3D games were certainly the norm on the N64, so it just didn't appeal to me as much, and that's why I eventually sold it. And of course I regret it, had to buy all that stuff back, but yeah, this Mario Kart 64 was one of the games that helped me realize, oh my gosh, I like 2D games better, I like the games on the Super Nintendo better, what am I bothering with this N64 business for? But I would be back, and I am still back. Big Nintendo fan here, all the consoles. And yeah, it looks like we're moving into tactics for time trials now. Oh, wait a minute, oh no, time trials, that's what they had that at the end of every course there, so. Time trial tactics for each course at the end of their little review, or their little section of pages. So yeah, getting here towards the end, heading into Special Cup here. Actually, the courses in Special Cup are really neat. DK's Jungle Parkway was cool. Yoshi's Valley was neat because you could take several different ways, and I was always amazed that no matter what way you took, it never seemed like you got lost or like on the wrong path. It just took you on a different path. So that took some real design talent from the team who made this game. I was always really impressed with that. And they did redo this track in some of the newer games. I think it's Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Banshee Boardwalk, never cared for this one. The music's not that great. As a matter of fact, the music actually sounds glitchy. There's like this sound in it. And at first I thought it was a glitch, but it's actually the way it's supposed to be. But it's another one of those really, really bland tracks with just kind of like a black background and then the wooden, the wooden track. It's boring. But I guess the same could be said for the Ghost House stages in Super Mario Kart. They aren't too much different. However, you can get up some killer speed on those tracks in Super Mario Kart. Ah, yes, and then Rainbow Road. Now, Rainbow Road, this was a huge difference between Super Mario Kart and Mario Kart 64 because in Mario Kart 64 here, look, there's a barrier around the whole entire track, whereas in Super Mario Kart, you were falling off that thing left and right until you got to know it really well. And it just didn't seem nearly as difficult. This was almost kind of a letdown because Rainbow Road was absolutely brutal in Super Mario Kart, but not so much here in Mario Kart 64. It's a lot longer of a track, but then there's also almost that game-breaking jump where you can like jump from a higher level to a lower level and skip a whole bunch of it. So that was something that was interesting about this version. And then going into the battle mode, which a lot of people love, but I preferred the battle mode in Super Mario Kart 64. It's the battle of the century. Now that you've proven your racing skills beyond a shadow of a doubt, it's time to face new challenges in the battle mode arenas. This is where the rules of the road no longer apply, and where the term defensive driving takes on a whole new meaning. Our detailed arena maps and secret battle tactics might be the only difference between a glorious victory and a humiliating defeat. Will it be the winner's circle or the scrap heap for you? That depends on whether or not you heed the advice on the following pages. So take a look at, I believe there were only 4 different carts, 4 different tracks here in the battle mode for Mario Kart 64, but they're giving you recommendations on which drivers to use based on their size and speed and cornering. So we've got the Big Donut, Block Fort. I think Block Fort was my favorite because it had the different tiers. That was actually kind of cool. Double Decker I liked, and then Skyscraper I didn't care for so much. So I liked about 50% of these battle mode arenas. So and then secrets: small and equal, slipstreaming, spin out. Okay, yeah. So just going through some of the difference here. What? Let's see. Is there one? Rocket jump? No, that's not what I'm remembering. Sorry about that. That was for something else. But yeah, telling you about the mirror mode as well. This is the coolest secret of all in Mario Kart 64. If you win all 4 gold trophy cups in the Mario GP using 150cc carts, you'll get a new mode option, the mirror mode. In the mirror mode, you'll see you'll race on a mirror version of each track, and the difficulty will seem much greater since you're used to the normal direction. And I don't think that's a mode they've brought back since Mario Kart Double Dash on the GameCube. I don't think there's been a mirror mode since that game, but it was first introduced here, which actually that's really cool. Nice way to kind of double the replay value, albeit, you know, kind of a cheap and easy way, but definitely a challenging way. Mirror mode was always tough. But yeah, lots of different secrets here, or little tips or tricks for Mario Kart 64. So let's see here. I got an item chart here telling you about the frequency, about which certain items will appear given certain conditions. And then times to beat for each of the different cups here. The following best times come to us from the programmers and testers who created Mario Kart 64, which would be interesting at the time if there were, you know, Twitch or YouTube and we had all of these, you know, just fans, video game fans, you know, submitting their best scores. You know, how much better or worse they might be than the programmers. I have a feeling that they might be better. So, the winner circle, the new champs. Mario GP concludes with a lavish awards ceremony at the gates of the Mushroom Castle. As the Royal Mushroom Kingdom Marching Band plays a victory march, gold, silver, and bronze cups will be handed to the winners. Will you take your place on the podium with the rest of the racing champions, or will you only watch the celebration from afar? With this guide and a bit of practice, your place in the winner's circle is assured. And they actually did do a very nice fanfare for the awards ceremony in this game. And I always remember being wowed, like, oh wow, look at that 64-bit trophy there. Kind of a neat texture, metallic texture they put on there. But then the reason that I chose to go through this guide with you guys today are these bumper stickers that they included. So again, if you're looking to pick this guide up, make sure that yours has these intact. And I think there were some versions that did not have them, so you're going to want to look for this little badge on the front here that says bonus bumper stickers. But these are the ones here. We've got Mario Kart 64, Kick Asphalt 500, Royal Raceway, and then See You in the Winner's Circle, Mario Kart 64. So some nice glossy bumper stickers there. And then, of course, the ad for Nintendo Power. So that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this edition of official Nintendo published players guides. Again, check out the video description for the link to the forum, and you're going to be able to vote on the guides that you want to see me take a more in-depth look at in the follow-up video. But until then, take it easy, and you'll be seeing me in the next one. Talk to you later.